Microsoft just announced that they have bought Activision Blizzard King for roughly $70 billion. Which is a ludicrous amount of money. Obviously, over the last 2 years or so, maybe longer than that, Blizzard has been on a downward spiral. There's been a lot of drama, especially over the last year, with all kinds of sexual allegations, making front page news everywhere, and all kinds of other problems. I haven't really talked about it all too much. I've discussed it here and there, but I feel like it's already been discussed to death in many places. And obviously, the whole situation, I mean, it's so negative. I try and not focus too much on negativity. That being said, for obvious reasons, it's bad, right? And it's been kind of up in the air, like, what is going to happen to Blizzard Entertainment? Because apparently World of Warcraft is at, like, its lowest subscription numbers ever. Diablo 4 is nowhere to be seen. Overwatch 2, I have no idea. The whole situation is a little bit strange, and Activision Blizzard has very quickly become the Call of Duty company. They have very quickly become the company with, Call of Duty, and then a bunch of other games on the side. What is included in the deal, too, is Activision Blizzard, but also a company called King. And King owns, for example, Candy Crush. And at this point, I genuinely think that Candy Crush probably produces more revenue than World of Warcraft does. Candy Crush makes more money than Call of Duty. Does it really? I don't know. I know there's a lot of people out there that play Candy Crush. Personally, I don't really know any of them. But I know that it's a big game, especially for, like, you know, the most casual of gamers. But obviously that audience is absolutely massive. What's interesting about this is a couple of things. So, first off, they spent $70 billion, allegedly, on a company that seems to be going downhill. Now, Microsoft has done this many times before with other companies as well. The big one that comes to mind is the Bethesda deal that occurred, I don't know, a couple of years ago. I think it was even the parent company of Bethesda. Essentially, yeah, securing a whole lot of massive titles in the process as well, right? Over the last few years, though, Microsoft has focused a lot as well. Like, whenever you see online in, like, a trailer, like, exclusively on Xbox, it means Microsoft Windows and Microsoft Xbox, as in, like, the box that you put right next to your television. So they've already included, PC gaming quite a bit in that category as well, which is pretty cool. So they've been securing a lot of PC titles over the last couple of years. And I guess they're not done yet. Now, what's interesting about this, for StarCraft 2 specifically, is that Microsoft also owns the parent company that owns Relic, if I'm not mistaken. Relic Entertainment. I don't really know exactly how, like, the structures work, because there's, like, companies owning other companies, owning other companies, owning other companies, and then eventually, at the top, it's, like, Bill Gates smiling down. No, I know Bill Gates hasn't worked there in a while. Anyways, for StarCraft 2 specifically, Relic makes a game called Age of Empires, which is probably the only real direct competitor that StarCraft has. A little bit awkward. Yeah, they can definitely develop 2 RTS games. I don't think it's a big deal, but it is definitely a little bit awkward. It's like you're competing with your older brother, I suppose, which is not necessarily a bad idea, but it definitely is interesting. Now, we just read the news article that was posted on Xbox.com, so it's definitely official. An hour ago, it was still all alleged information, but this is definitely official. So it says, "Welcome the incredible teams, the legendary franchise of Activision Blizzard to Microsoft Gaming," by Phil Spencer, the CEO of Microsoft Gaming. Right here, included on the banner, we have Overwatch, we have Diablo, Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Candy Crush, and also right there in the corner, we have StarCraft. What is absent? Hearthstone, which might be included right here under the World of Warcraft banner. Another game that's absent is Warcraft 3, right? May have heard of that one. I don't know. And obviously Heroes of the Storm. Heroes of the Storm also not on this list. Hearthstone is as far as I realize, or as far as I know, still a relatively popular game that makes quite a lot of money. So I guess it's definitely, but the fact that they decided to put StarCraft over here and not Hearthstone is probably a good thing, because there's no way they're gonna stop development on Hearthstone. And it probably means they might consider, at the very least, the StarCraft IP valuable. Which it certainly is. This could mean a couple of things. I think first off, it could mean that they're thinking about producing more stuff for StarCraft 2. Would be interesting. It could mean a StarCraft 3. Highly doubt it. It could also mean that they've got some other titles in the works for, I don't know, mobile or something, where the StarCraft IP is relevant. Yeah, maybe they have a StarCraft movie in the works or something along those lines. So I don't really want to get my hopes up all too much on this. But at the very least, it is included in the deal. And yeah, it's very significant news. So they did write a few things over here as well in this article. Where is it? Activision Blizzard games are enjoyed on a variety of platforms, and we plan to continue support those communities moving forward. For StarCraft 2 in particular, since it is right here on the banner, I guess they are, you know, potentially moving forward as well. I mean, that's what they're saying at the very least. I think this is a very positive thing. The more I think about it, I was a little bit conflicted when I first heard about it like an hour ago. But this is, yeah, it's definitely a good sign. So currently, StarCraft 2 Esports has been outsourced entirely to a couple of companies like DreamHack, ESL, and GSL. This was first done, I think, in 2019. And basically what they did, as far as I know, is a 3-year deal with StarCraft 2 companies that are like running the entire esports scene, right? So GSL over in Korea, DreamHack and ESL outside of South Korea. And StarCraft 2 has got full support directly from Blizzard, even though I think it's just a one-time, like, I don't know, bit of money they probably gave those companies, or a bit of money, a bunch of money that they gave those companies. So we know that StarCraft 2 is going to be good until 2023 in about February or so, which is when the World Championships will take place for that year. So we know that StarCraft 2 is good for at least another full year. I guess this means that we'll have to wait and see what happens after that. But obviously, Microsoft being one of the absolute biggest companies in the world, as a matter of fact, if we look at total market cap, Microsoft ranks second, with currently at $2.3 trillion. They could definitely throw some money StarCraft's way and keep a lot of nerds, myself included, very happy. The fact that they can just spend, you know, $70 billion is what it seems to buy a company like Activision Blizzard is kind of wild. They were at like 2.5 trillion, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, it goes up and down, a couple hundred million, or a couple hundred billion rather, here and there. No big deal. Anyways, this is very significant. Apparently, Activision Blizzard stock has been up before the market opens by 30% is what someone had said in the chat. I can't find that out so quickly. But apparently, yeah, people are at least somewhat excited. At least shareholders are somewhat excited about the news. So if we look at like Microsoft track record for different companies that they have purchased in the past, the Bethesda deal is relatively recent. I think that's a couple of years ago. 34% up pre-market. That's crazy. That's huge. Anyways, Bethesda is probably the biggest company that comes to mind recently, but the one that they bought before that was Mojang, right? And that's the owner of Minecraft. Now, initially, I know there was a lot of drama with Minecraft when they were first purchasing, or when they were first purchased, rather, by Microsoft. However, as far as I know, over the last couple of years, the Minecraft community has been exceptionally happy with the whole situation. It seems like Minecraft has got like a new resurgence over the last few years. I don't really follow that side of gaming very closely, so I don't really know. But overall, it seems that Microsoft, as far as I know, takes good care of the companies that they have purchased. Now, make no mistake, I do think that the majority of the deal that they've done is with World of Warcraft, Candy Crush, and Call of Duty in mind. Those are probably the big titles that they're interested about, and they probably have like a couple of other banners right here on there. Like the StarCraft IP is definitely not worth the same as the World of Warcraft IP. But yeah, they also bought ZeniMax. Yes, is ZeniMax the owner or the parent company of Bethesda? Is that what it is? That's at least what is coming up in my head. Yeah. So ZeniMax is what Microsoft bought a couple of years ago, and that is the parent company of Bethesda and a couple of other gaming developers too. Right. So slowly but surely, Microsoft is gobbling up a bunch of very large companies. And, I mean, this is a really big one, obviously. They just casually have bought Activision Blizzard King, which is huge. Now, as far as leadership goes, this is a bit of a strange sentence. I don't know if this is meant to be read like this, but it says, once the deal is complete, the Activision Blizzard business will report to me as CEO, Microsoft Gaming. So I don't know if this means that Mr. Phil Spencer is becoming head of the board, or if this means that, like, they're kicking out Bobby Kotick and he's going to be the one in charge, or if someone like Bobby Kotick would be reporting directly to Phil Spencer. I don't really know what to expect from that. I highly doubt that Bobby Kotick is staying on. But I could imagine that maybe... Like, I'm assuming at the very least that Microsoft internally has many executives that are capable of running a company like this. So I guess this means that Bobby Kotick is at least staying on for some time going forward. But whenever this deal completes... Okay, so apparently the deal is supposed to be completed in June 2023. Okay, I guess everything is up in the air until then. Phil Spencer has been a vocal critic of Bobby Kotick. I'd be shocked if he stays on. Okay, so I don't really know the details and all of that. But let's just say that Bobby Kotick definitely hasn't made a good name for himself over the last couple of years. And I can imagine that for a company like Microsoft, it's someone they are probably not struggling to replace. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that is something that at the very least is going through their minds. I'm not too familiar with Phil Spencer. Well, I know he's the CEO of Microsoft Gaming. I don't really know what games, for example, he plays, if he plays any at all. It's kind of important. I mean, it seemed to me over the last few years that at Activision Blizzard, they hired more and more people that actually were just mostly there for money and not so much for games. Which, you know, is very obvious when you look back at, like, a bunch of things that have happened. And that's, like, a big thing in gaming in general over the last few years. That executives are hired primarily to, you know, get as much money out of the player base as possible and not so much for their passion to produce great video games. So I'm always a little bit hesitant. Obviously, I also don't know if it's a great idea for one company to own this much. Because, I mean, at this point, Xbox has money to buy, like, I don't know, they have so much money to throw around. They could go out and buy Disney. I think that's the easiest. Like, is that something we really want? I am a little concerned about it as far as, like, you know, just like 3 companies competing with each other. Because if it goes down the current road that we are on, it seems like in, like, a decade or two, everything's going to be owned by, like, one company. I'm assuming that that is something that the SEC and stuff is paying very close attention to as well. But it seems at the very least, considering they announced it, it's a pretty big deal. What's this? So this is Phil Spencer's Twitter. Hey, Phil, hypothetically speaking, what are the odds of seeing a future for Halo Wars? I agree, underappreciated cinematics in Halo Wars were great. Reminded me of StarCraft on the Nintendo 64. We're really digging now, huh? Phil Spencer tweeted about StarCraft one day! Guys! Anyways, I for one am very excited for the new Master Chief co-op commander. That's... That is, no, I don't think that's gonna happen. But at this point, like, the way that Blizzard is treating StarCraft, like, ever since they did that multi-year deal, they haven't really done anything for StarCraft. Like, they haven't turned off the servers. that they haven't done. But there haven't really been any balance updates or very minor things here and there. There haven't been any new additions to the game. But there have also been a lot of bugs that appeared. There's people that are in Masters League even though they have Bronze League MMR. There's a couple of hackers on top of the ladder. There's, like, all kinds of drama that's been going on that just has been completely neglected. So at this point, I think ignoring the game is slowly bringing it down the drain. Like, I think the community would definitely keep the StarCraft spirit alive and people would definitely still be playing in tournaments and stuff. But neglecting it is slowly killing StarCraft 2. And you don't even really need that many people. I've discussed it at length in the past, but you don't need that many people to run a game like StarCraft, even if it's just, like, absolute bare minimum. Maybe you need like 4 or 5 people. I don't know. I don't know much about game design, but even if you need a team of a dozen people, that is, for a company the size of Activision Blizzard, absolute pocket change. For a company the size of Microsoft, it's not even pocket change. I don't know a better analogy, but for a company the size of Microsoft, Phil Spencer could definitely look at it. There's like one meeting that he has every year or so on like a Wednesday afternoon where they're like, hey Phil, we have this game called StarCraft. There's 12 people working there. And he's like, done. Right? Like that's that's about, I'm assuming, how that sort of thing goes. Yeah, there's really not that much that much going on. StarCraft only for Xbox. I don't think something like that would even make it all the way to Phil Spencer's desk. Because it's literally pocket change for a company this size. So the more I think about it, the more positive I am. Obviously, this is going to take a while to set up. But since we know that StarCraft 2 Esports is still good for at least another year, we'll find out, I guess, probably around this time next year, exactly what this means for StarCraft 2. What do you guys think? Do you guys think this is a good thing or a bad thing? What are you guys' thoughts, rather? Because I know there's a lot of people here that follow the gaming news. Great thing, it's super good. Okay. Overall, it seems like a good thing, right? Yeah, that's exactly, like, I'm thinking about it too. I think neglecting the game is slowly gonna kill it over time. So it can't really get much worse. Like, at this point, you know, we'll take it, I guess. Yeah, I'm tentatively positive. Isn't it crazy, though, that, like, a company like Microsoft can just spend $70 billion and buy another bunch of companies all in one massive deal? Because it's not like Activision Blizzard King are the only 3 companies. There's like Treyarch, there's like a whole bunch of companies, Infinity Ward. There's like a whole bunch of them that are like underneath that too. And then just buy the whole thing in one big ass deal. Yeah, I guess they look at this and they're like, you know what? They've been suffering for a couple of years. It's on discount. Like maybe they had to pay 100 billion plus if the company was doing well. So I guess in their mind, this is a killer deal. And for Blizzard, yeah, exactly. It buys them out of the bad press in a way, right? It's like a fresh slate where there's been a lot of drama over the last couple of years, a lot of very large problems. And I guess Microsoft can start sweeping down the company. And obviously they will now bear responsibility going forward, especially once the deal is completed in 2023. But they'll probably make some significant changes. At Bill Gates, new StarCraft patch when? What race are you guys gonna main at StarCraft 3? As I've said many times, I don't think StarCraft 3 is anywhere even remotely on the horizon, but it is definitely something that Microsoft will consider. Microsoft buys Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion. Microsoft is buying the gaming company Activision Blizzard, gaining access to blockbuster games like Call of Duty and Candy Crush. Ugh! This hurts my feelings a little bit. I know that, like, revenue-wise, Candy Crush is probably up there, but the fact that Candy Crush took priority over literally any of the Blizzard titles... I don't want to be a gaming elitist, but maybe people that read the Washington Post are familiar with Candy Crush. Is that me roast? I don't know. Is that a roast? I don't know anything about newspapers. The all-cash deal. God, they just literally wrote a check. Anyways, will let Microsoft, makers of Xbox gaming system, accelerate mobile gaming. No! No. Back off! Accelerate gaming and provide building blocks for the metaverse, or a virtual environment. The announcement Tuesday arrives with Activision still in turmoil over allegations of misconduct and unequal pay. Satya Nadella said in a conference call with investors that the culture of our organization is my #1 priority and that it's critical for Activision Blizzard to drive forward on its commitment to improve its workplace culture. Right. Activision Blizzard CEO, blah, 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 will retain his role, and he and his team will maintain their focus on driving efforts to further strengthen the Centum. Dude, I don't like the way these stupid articles are written. Like, why do they have to use different words to describe the same thing 17 times in one article? Why can't we just use the same word twice? It's so annoying to read. More word count equals better? Okay. Right. Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard. StarCraft fans running low on hope. So, I've brought this up several times in the past, but this is one of my favorite Microsoft stories, I guess, for StarCraft 2. Once upon a time, there was a tournament called the After Hours Gaming League, where, like, a bunch of big tech companies participated. I know there was an Amazon gaming team, there was, like, a Microsoft team, and, like, a bunch of different companies had a StarCraft team. And the slogan for the Microsoft StarCraft team was Microsoft Macro Hard, which I think is probably the greatest slogan I've ever heard. You know one thing I've learned, guys, from the StarCraft pro gamers? There's this Discord group, right, where apparently the cool kids hang out. And one day, I got invited to the cool kids group as well a long time ago, and I was like, sweet. This is apparently the place where all the pro gamers are. It's like a Discord group with, like, all the pros, right? You know what I found out? No one's really talking in there because they've moved, apparently, to get this. Skype. I don't know, man. Were they way ahead of the meta? I can, like, if I close my eyes, I can hear the sound effect when you call someone in Skype. Like, when you are ringing someone else's phone and it does, like, the little... Oh, God. I hate that sound. I don't know if they've ever changed it, but... Bloom, 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 bloom. Oh. This is a good point by Dario. Imagine telling someone 10 years ago that Microsoft buying Blizzard would be universally welcomed by the community. This is very true. This would have been unheard of a decade ago. This is how desperate we've become, I suppose. But also how far Blizzard has sunk. I know that Microsoft tried, right? Yeah, Microsoft did attempt this a long time ago, but... I'm gonna make StarCraft 3. Thank you, Bill. I've got a direct line, actually, to Bill in this shoulder. It was already itching the other day. I think it all makes sense now. Everyone in the StarCraft community right now, don't what? Don't give me hope. While monopolies are undoubtedly bad news for the video game industry, this acquisition could have some positive effects on Blizzard, both culturally and strategically. Under Activision, every game had to be a billion-dollar franchise. Under Xbox, this will likely change. Yeah, so this is actually a good point. I've heard of this as well. The main reason, apparently, why they stopped developing StarCraft 2 is because at Activision Blizzard, they only care about projects that run $1 billion. The fact that Microsoft decided to build an Age of Empires 4 in the first place a bunch of years ago is already pretty promising. It seems like they are mostly thinking very long term as far as, like, running their gaming goes and, you know, where things are going to be in, like they're not buying a company like this to make sick bucks in 2025. That's not the plan. Like, they are probably planning on, you know, making sick bucks in, like, 2020, 50. That's not even... That doesn't work like that. But you get what I'm getting at. Yeah, when you're a company that size, you can afford thinking very long term. 2020, 50 is the year, guys. That's the time to be alive for a StarCraft fan. Anyways, Bobby's ultimate goal, other than getting away with everything he did, was to turn Blizzard into another Activision studio, cranking out yearly hits. Under Xbox, Blizzard might be able to regain some of its autonomy and fix some big problems. Maybe. It's a very good point, Jason. By the way, one thing that always bothers me whenever people bring up, like, Blizzard used to be good when, you know, they were separate and stuff. Activision bought Blizzard, or I guess they merged. Let me get you the date. They merged in April 2008. It's been some time. And only really the last couple of years has it gone significantly downhill. No! No! Don't snap! Don't do it, man! He's got the whole gauntlet! Oh, no. God. Yeah, they're definitely not snapping Call of Duty. They're definitely not snapping World of War. I think they've already snapped, actually, man. If you look at the headline... If you look at the headline and Heroes of the Storm wasn't on there. Hearthstone wasn't on there. Warcraft wasn't on there. I think they've already... They already did it. Candy Crush generated 1.19 billion in 2020, making it the third highest grossing mobile game outside of China. 273 million people play Candy Crush once a month. My God! What? So, wait, when was this written? How accurate is this? Updated January 11th, so about a couple days ago. Jeez. So for comparison right now, rumor has it there's like 2-3 million people that play World of Warcraft. Like, obviously there's a lot of people that, you know, don't pay for Candy Crush. And the majority of World of Warcraft players will spend a lot more minutes in the game than the average Candy Crush user, I'm sure. But I guess it puts it in perspective at least a little bit. So I know since they're publicly traded, you can look all this stuff up, right? I'm sure you can look in the quarterly reports and stuff and get a bunch of info. But I don't know exactly how accurate these random websites are. But I can imagine it's quite a big deal. Yeah, there's also definitely been purchases in the past that Microsoft didn't get a whole lot of success with. Nokia, not doing so hot. Skype in general, not as popular anymore. I guess everything is Teams now. Mixer. Mixer is a more recent example. Mixer, this is actually kind of crazy for those of you that like haven't really followed along with the news very much. This was some time ago, but Mixer was purchased by Facebook Gaming. This is very weird. Like, the main competitor for Twitch was owned by Microsoft and then sold to Facebook Gaming. I guess we are moving though to a place where at some point every game you're gonna want to play is gonna be with the Microsoft Game Pass, right? Is this gonna be like... Is it gonna be like the way that television shows are run right now, where initially having a Netflix account was pretty much all you needed, but now you need a Netflix account, you need a Hulu account, you need a Prime account, you need a Discovery account, you need a Disney Plus account. Is that what we're gonna do with freaking gaming as well, where you're gonna have to run 17 different accounts in order to, like, play anything? I guess StarCraft will probably be included in the Microsoft Game Pass. Yeah. Stop giving them ideas, Lowko. I'm not giving them ideas, man. I think this is the future. I wouldn't be surprised anyways. I hope it's not, but... Yeah, at this rate, all you need is a Game Pass to play anything. And I'm sure that Microsoft is more than happy with that. If they can run the entire gaming industry off of... off of a monthly subscription, I'm sure they'll be very happy. Yep, so I guess it's a good thing. But only time will tell.